All right, welcome back. So short game time.
Short game time.
Really close to the green. Chip shots we're gonna go through. Low ones, medium, high ones. We're gonna get in the bunker as well, which I need a lot of help with. So let's start with we've picked a really stock kind of pitch shot.
Yeah. Nothing
crazy. So we'll hit high lofted shot to start with, or what is your kind of baseline chip shot?
Let's go sort of like chipping 101. Let's go with the 54 first.
Okay.
And then we'll work into the high shot with the 60.
Cool.
So you show me what you normally would do, and then we can, let's say we're gonna try to fly it about halfway there and let it run the rest.
Cool.
Make sense?
Does make sense.
Okay.
So the first thing I would ask is, I'm guilty of grabbing my 60 always.
Okay.
And even on a shot that really doesn't require it, I'll do it anyway.
Okay.
Do you usually say to most students, go sand wedge, which this is kind of like a strong sand wedge, for your lowest shots, go down a club?
It depends a little bit on the person.
Yeah.
I've seen, some players, when they have lots of green, they're automatically going to go to like a 7-iron or something like that, where they're going to run it. Or, you can sort of say, I'm going to land it 3 feet on and then let it run the rest of the way.
Yeah.
I'm not super picky. If you have the right skill, and you feel comfortable with the 60, then I'm okay with the 60.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah.
If you want it, let's do 60 then. If that's your normal,
I'm looking to change that because I'm not good at these shots.
Okay,
so that's the reason I asked was like, I see a lot of people doing exactly what I do.
Yes.
They go high lofted, and like 80% of the time it's short, and I'm so bad with that.
Okay.
But I'm too stubborn to just say like enough, like go down and loft.
Okay, perfect.
So this is kind of step one for me, I think.
I love it. Let's do it.
Make a club change. Okay.
So you hit a couple. I'm gonna watch some, and then we'll chat.
So I'm gonna cheat it a little bit because we've already had a bit of a lesson, which the last video showed, of a longer pitch shot, or I guess like a medium size wedge shot.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to integrate that a little bit, but I'm sure this will need some cleanup.
And height-wise, what would you say for that type of shot? Height, okay?
That looked a little high.
Yeah, okay, perfect. I just wanted to see if we were on the same page. Yeah, I agree.
High.
Yeah, I thought it was just a touch high.
It wasn't quite what I had in mind. Obviously, a little bit too hard too, but
yeah.
That's a little bit more like what I was trying to do. Picture at least.
Ooh, that was pretty good.
That's a little better, eh?
Yeah. So how about setup here? I'm gonna just go through.
Please, yeah.
A couple things in the setup that I like to see, that you're doing some of the stuff I like to see pretty naturally, but I'll just sort of talk through what I'm looking at, okay? So you get in there. So the first thing I'm looking at for you is basically where your buttons are pointed on your shirt.
Right.
So if I take this alignment stick here as a visual, so if I go straight off your buttons, they're pointed just ahead of that golf ball.
Okay.
And that's where I sort of like the center of the chest pointed. If I see people that have a tendency with heavy shots, like chili dip type shots, right? Typically, if you look at the center of their chest, it's pointed behind the golf ball.
Okay, so they tend to get this way.
Yeah, exactly.
So and then point this a bit more.
Yeah, so that's going to help us with how the club's getting delivered.
Okay.
The other thing, for this type of shot, like I like the face ever so slightly open. Okay. Even if you're trying to trap it, because the more the toes in or square, the more likely is that leading edge could grab.
Dig into the turf.
Especially if you're someone that likes to hit the ground. If you're a guy that's okay like sweeping it, you can get away with it a little bit.
So basically, slightly open engages a bit more bounce.
For sure.
And you can forgive your strike a bit better.
Right. And again, if the arc is sort of the right way, where the club's bottoming out and working up, you have more freedom to sort of play around with face position.
Okay.
Gotcha. If you're a guy that's pretty steep, I'd always want it a little bit more open.
Okay, cool. So I'll set that slightly open.
Yeah, perfect. And shoulders are slightly open.
Yep.
And then from a pressure standpoint, like in the feet, I like Matt's really set. To me, it's probably like 65, 70% lead foot.
Yes.
Is that what you feel?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, and that's great. And then when I'm looking sort of upper body wise, I like that his shoulders are slightly, they're not, I don't see this left side or your lead side really high.
So you want to avoid someone standing kind of like this.
That's right. Like I see that sometimes if they get the pressure forward,
yeah,
but they feel like they're too far forward, then they'll start leaning their upper body back.
So you almost have this relationship.
Exactly. And then that creates a couple issues.
Gotcha.
So you're sort of in a spot where you don't have to change a lot, and you're going to get the strike. That's number one, is if we can get the strike each time, then we can start playing around with some things.
How would you address ball position as like a standard shot? Because I'm guilty of getting it too far back.
I like it pretty close to the center of your stance, or basically like, you know, under your belly button for this type of chip.
Okay, gotcha. Yep, so pretty center, pretty neutral.
Pretty center. There's a lot of variation with short game, right? There's so many styles and ways to do it, but if we're looking baseline, that's where I'm going to start.
Gotcha. Okay, let's try another one like that.
Good. And then the next part that I would go into for you, and it's a lot, you're doing so much good. Those are 3, you know,
decent
solid
ones,
shots.
Yeah.
So when you're doing this next one, I want to see if we can sync up a little bit of the club move with your body move.
Gotcha.
Okay, so you set in there like you're going to hit. So when we're doing this one, so as you're going back, I want to see this elbow, stomach, and club head sort of moving at about the same pace.
Are my arms outracing my body?
Yeah, I think your hands are just working a little bit more than your stomach.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay? And not to say that you got to use a lot, but I just, for this shot, I don't like it when the hands start getting too behind you.
So someone would feel something like the core driving the start of the swing?
Right, like one of my favorite drills, if I set up like this and I just have my left hand under my right elbow and I just turn back, that sort of arm position is where I'm going to look to be with this little pitch shot. Gotcha. And like for you, just like your full swing, we're just going to have that softer.
The elbow softer.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then that gets the hands and arms in a nice position. Then you can just rotate.
How's that there?
Perfect. And you can like you do so much stuff good.
Yeah.
An error that I see, do that one more time. So if you do that nicely, if there's someone that pulls the hands down a lot, that's in the sense that they're trying to get the hit.
Yes.
They're trying to get that really solid contact.
So someone's trying to give it one of these?
Yeah, exactly. So when I'm watching from face on, I'm watching Matt do, which he's doing a nice job, is sort of when he gets to this point, his handle's starting to work up.
Yeah, see, this is one thing that I think is really, really misunderstood.
Yes.
Is sort of like hinge and hold.
Yes.
Everyone's trying to hinge and hold. And everyone thinks that what you just said is like flipping it. But really you're kind of just releasing the energy.
Exactly. And like, I think the best way to look at it is if I'm going from face on here.
Yep.
If I'm in here and I'm continue to sort of lean the shaft, basically as the club's going down, the low point is actually going to be under the ground, right? So the club's going to be going down, and you could see it would hit the ground right here unless like I'd stand up or do something. So I'd rather it start to work down, the club's starting to catch up here.
Yep.
And then as I come through, I can sort of stand up and let the club just sweep the grass.
Kind of like what we talked about earlier, a shallower attack is actually really what you want and what a tour player would do.
Yeah, it's going to be less impact on the ground.
Gotcha.
There's still going to be some attack, like maybe like this type of shot. It depends on what you're trying to do. You have a bit more range because you have green, but say on like a normal pitch, like 5-6 down type shot.
Gotcha. Okay, so let me try to be a little more in sync with my
with your pivot, yeah, and then same thing with the hands on the way through.
Okay.
Very nice.
I felt like I made better contact. And so for me, like when I'm really conscious of how frequently a chip feels mishit to me.
Yes.
We've talked about this before.
Yes.
Like I often feel like I play golf and I just never hit a chip solid. The result may sometimes be good. Since we've been talking about this, like ones like that I can see are actually centered and faces more square.
Yes.
I'm actually hitting them long with less kind of effort.
Right, and like the pattern that we saw a little bit yesterday was the club head was quite a bit out.
Yes.
Remember in the backswing, and then as you went through, the handle was really going this way.
Yep.
So what we did to sync that up was we let the club head work a little bit more neutral on the way back, and then for you, it's tracking down the line quite a bit more on the follow through, and that looks perfect.
Yeah, so like a lower shot, you're still going to get lots of spin, feeling kind of a little bit of a draw motion to get some compression. You don't want to be glancing at it on this type of a shot.
Right, yeah, if you have green to work with and you're trying to hit that sort of low checking shot, I would highly recommend the sweet spot tracks down the target line for a while.
And you've shown me a bunch of kind of tour player videos where if you stop them here, the club looks like that. Like it's way in front of them.
Yes.
And I think everyone thinks it's doing this, but it's not.
Unless you're trying to hit a specialty type shot, I would say standard pitch, 101, we want that sweet spot going more to the target than hard left.
Love it.
Or hard across you.
Gotcha. So let's pretend that we need to fly some rough or a bunker and get it closer to the hole in the air.
Perfect.
I'm going to switch wedges to the 60.
Perfect, that sounds good.
So take me through kind of like the stock shot. We obviously have more loft in our hand, so I know that's going to make it go higher.
Yeah.
But if I want to get a bit of height, what's the correct way to go about raising your trajectory a bit.
So like what I like to see is if we sort of go off our baseline,
Yep.
right? So we're gonna go sort of similar ball position.
Uh-huh.
So you get in there, so similar ball position, it's around center.
Okay.
If we're going higher, I want this stance a little wider,
Okay, good.
even a little wider than that.
Do I leave the ball where it
I
was?
would leave it, yeah.
Okay.
So the ball's still middle, but we've widened that foot. So if you're looking at me here,
Yeah.
so this is my normal, and then when I'm going higher, I'm gonna just step that foot back.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then the next part of that is I would get you just slightly further from the ball.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that's gonna give you a little bit more space to have the hands low.
Okay.
And then the last part of this would be just in delivery. I want to see if you can have the shaft and the club head match up at impact versus any of that.
So we're basically removing some of the shaft lean
100%.
that we were using to keep the ball low.
Right, because for us to hit high shots, we just have to deliver loft.
Deliver loft, yeah.
And deliver loft with a consistent strike, and
Yeah.
then we're going to be good at pitching.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay, so that's a perfect one, actually. So the only thing that happened there is we had a little bit of the 50-yard shot in this swing.
Okay.
So this is where the sequence is going to change slightly.
Right.
So this one, I'm going to let you get long,
Okay.
and I'm going to let the body be more passive.
Gotcha.
So then the club head can be a little bit more active. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I tried to go a little bit too short and push it.
Yeah, that's right. So show me the backswing once. So keep going. So for this length, so it's all the way up there, and just letting the body be pretty calm. This is going to be similar to the bunkers and letting the face stay a bit open through the release. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let that club head move. Ah, that's the sound. So when the club head starts moving, now we're going to be able to use a bit of the bounce instead of that first one where it was shorter.
Yes.
And then your body went harder.
Yeah.
Then it created a little bit too much leverage on the club. It's where I want the body to be a little calmer so that club head can outrace you to impact.
So the lob shot is more of a sort of smooth, lazy motion in a sense?
For sure, yeah. Like you almost picture like a Fred Couples, like,
Yeah.
That type of motion.
And then the short, low chip shot is a little bit more abrupt in the backswing.
You can do that for sure, because you can create a little bit more lean with that shot, because you're gonna control the loft.
Gotcha. That was really quite different to see. Like, so that amount of height normally, I think the way I've been going about it is obviously like a lot of open face, probably some setup mistakes as well. And I would struggle to hit a shot that crisp, that high.
Yeah, and that's a pattern that I see a lot of people I see when they try to hit it high, they get really open.
Yes.
And they're swinging really hard across it.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is the club is sliding so far across it that sometimes it's hard to control how far it's going to go.
100%. I have no distance control.
Right.
And that actually, again, like I could hear a little bit of a click. Like I feel like the ball actually
it
has some
stayed
time on the face.
Yeah, that's that was perfect, because now the sweet spot's tracking a little bit more neutral, but we're still delivering loft.
Yes.
So we can hit the high shot and have control.
Really good. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a great shot.
I'd love to hop in the bunker.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Okay, sweet.